I'm Charlotte McLeod with investingnews.com, and here today with me is Chen Lin of Lin Asset Management. Thank you so much for being here. Good to see you for the first time in person.
Thank you, Charlotte. Glad to be here.
Really good to be catching up with you. And I think we last spoke in kind of mid-2024, and we really focused on silver, which of course we'll talk about silver today. But your presentation here at PDAC was on where to invest in 2025. So I thought to open with that and get your thoughts on where you're focusing right now.
Oh yeah, multiple area. One, I really like gold, I like silver, and also critical metals. I've been pounding on the table about critical metal for almost a year. I think finally I'm very, very pleased. They got it. Actually, before China banned the gallium, I already knew that. Actually, I already told my my network, the people, including CEO, pay attention. And then I was just receiving all the appreciation and congratulations from the management. Many companies, I give them a heads up. That's all these critical metals are coming, and it's really truly coming. If you look at the Trump, he wants to have a critical metal deal with Ukraine. That's what he got the money back. It's nothing left. It's really interesting in critical metal. And there is a draft document by Department of Defense at the end of last year. So basically 2 months ago, they said we really need a critical metal. And there's a lot of fundings available. And then the visibility, especially with Mr. Trump's mouth, the visibility very, very high. I'm so glad I went to the PDAC opening ceremony. I'm very, very glad to see we are taking that seriously.
Yeah, I think definitely there's been such a focus on critical minerals this year, really, and right now. Which one, you mentioned gallium, which critical minerals are most interesting for you right now?
Oh, there's many, recently China banned including gallium, germanium, antimony, right? Those three are heavily used in the military. A lot of people ask, gallium, what do they use? Gallium arsenide is used in the radar, in the pilot jet. So what it does is silicon, right? Silicon up is carbon, very hard to make semiconductor. But germanium, that's also China's banned. That's also semiconductor. And then you can use gallium arsenide to make semiconductor as well. So that's the key. And then for the amount of gallium, China control 98%. So it's like really we have some stockpile in the United States, that's it. So we really need to look for those.
Yeah, and I think when people hear about critical minerals and they know that they're becoming increasingly important, but it's hard, I think, for investors to know, okay, how do I get exposure to these companies? Because, there's so many, for example, gold companies, critical minerals companies, there's so few. And then how do you look at them and know which ones are the good ones?
Right, that's a very good question. Everybody right now trying to get onto the wagon, so you had to be very selective. They're basically right now, because critical mineral is critical, but you only need a small quantity, right? For the gallium, the 100 ton, 600 ton a year is a worldwide production, 98% from China. So you don't need a lot. But so if you are far away from production, you basically, when you get there, it's not critical anymore. You want to be the critical path, on the critical path, and the first to production. So there are some company, but I don't know whether it's appropriate to mention here. But so that's we're trying to push. We actually and going to meet with one of the very well-known guy here today. We're going to discuss he's a big investor. Everybody know his name, but I don't want to mention him. But just see which company has the best chance to cross the finish line. So you want to be the first. Maybe second is okay, but then third, fourth is really because it's not critical anymore.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So if you're looking at critical minerals, you want to find out who's going to be, the first to production. Makes a lot of sense. I want to ask you, we were talking before we turned the camera on, just this past Friday, we had this Ukraine-US critical minerals deal just seemingly blow up. Any thoughts on where that goes moving forward? It sounds like, definitely the U.S. is focusing in on those critical minerals.
I personally think Zelensky need to come back and then ask for forgiveness. I mean, I really don't think, unfortunately, even no matter how we support Ukraine, without United States, Ukraine has no chance. Seriously, I heard United States already cut off electricity, cut off whatever to Ukraine already. It's happening this weekend. So it's very, Trump is playing very hard card. So I really don't think he has, it will be only Europe and Ukraine against Russia. Russia probably will take more the territory. So the longer he waits, unfortunately, it's the worse it is.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on how that plays out. And so there's that going on, and then there's the whole tariff situation, which is also creating a lot of uncertainty, I think. But again, a lot of focus on metals that might be affected by these tariffs. So anything in terms of the tariffs that you're really watching in the metal sector?
Right. The lot of people what came to me and say, Chen, Chinese American. Unfortunately, the China American and are fighting. Yeah, but it's a great business opportunity. Seriously, it is. So I just discussed in my presentation, China want to fight back. But for China to fight back, it's very limited option for Xi. The president put on head of Chinese president. What option he had? Cut out the critical mineral. That's probably his trump card. Second is sell U.S. government bond. But China only has less than 1 trillion. How much can you sell? Can you go negative? Can you short? No, you cannot short. So he sell the rest. The second, the third, buy more gold. Right? So that's the thing he can do. I mean, he may, because the more gold you have in China, they make people feel the RMB is stronger because it has the gold backing. So you see the divergence. Trump seems to go into crypto. He just announced over the weekend. Yes, and then China is going to gold. So we'll see who's right. I'm in gold camp though. I mean, not for China camp, but I'm in gold camp.
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting divergence that we are seeing there. So you mentioned, other than the critical minerals, you're interested in gold this year. So maybe we talk a little bit more about the drivers for gold that you're watching. So there's China. What else do you have your eye on?
Well, right now there's a historical movement of gold from London to New York. Okay, I made a presentation about a year and a half ago. There was historical movement from U.S. and then Europe to China. There was a huge premium in China because Chinese people start waking up, just ordinary citizens, because they have so much saving and then it's in recession and nowhere to put their money. They just want a little bit safe hedge on their saving, so they buy gold. So that movement triggered this, plus central bank buying triggered this gold movement. And I believe this gold movement from Bank of England, from London to New York, will trigger the next leg. And think about that. Bank of England is technically default. By rule, they have to deliver gold in 2 weeks. They couldn't deliver gold in 2 weeks. Then 4 weeks, they asked for 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. I don't know how long it is. So the people asking, do they really have all the sufficient gold there? Are they trying to buy some from the market for delivery? I do not know. And also, President Trump going to check on Fort Knox. So that's another thing. I do not know. I hope we have gold there. Seriously, I do. But if we don't, that's another big issue.
Yeah, I think this has been a topic that's coming up a lot. That movement of gold, the Fort Knox audit. Any further thoughts on that? It's interesting to me. Why do you think that gold is coming in? Why do you think Trump is looking to do that? Because you mentioned the focus on crypto, but we also seem to have maybe this interest in the U.S. on gold.
Right. The gold is not driven by Trump, if you realize. It's driven by the threat of tariff. So before U.S., London and Chicago, it's flat, very tiny different. Now, if people were saying if Trump put on 5% tariff on gold, that's they want to front run the tariff. Yeah. Okay, not just gold, also silver. Before, silver is so cheap, you ship by the boat. Now the price difference is so high, they ship by air now. So there's an unprecedented amount of silver also flying into the United States. Actually, silver more likely to put on tariff than gold because silver has the industrial usage, and silver should become more and more critical.
Yeah, this is what I was wondering when talking about the front running the tariffs when it comes to gold. Technically, we don't even know if gold is going to have tariffs, but so silver more likely to have that potentially.
Right. You look at Trump is looking at putting on tariff on copper. If you know, that was happening last week. We got copper is critical in many electrical for the next rebuilding. So basically, he wants to get American manufacturer back. But those need a lot of copper, not the infrastructure. If you look at the rise of China, if you look carefully, look at the the rise of industrial power, need power in its copper. So I think Trump administration is pretty thinking ahead. They're smart. They're thinking ahead. So we need the copper. We need the copper to potential tariff critical metal, including copper. Silver. You think about silver. You say, oh, there's abundant silver, but how much really available? And then silver is also widely used everywhere, including missile, including weapon. Okay, because silver is the best conductor. When push to shove, you really need a very good conductor. You use silver. Silver is better than copper. Just like solar panel. Solar panel, people try to replace silver with copper for so many years, decades. They couldn't. They still have used silver because this is the best conductor available. And then really you need to increase the efficiency. Even just by a little bit, you need to put silver in.
Yeah, you can see they're all really tied together. Just to look a little bit more closely at gold. So where do you see the price going in 2025? Of course, we've seen it move quite a bit. We're in a little bit of a pullback right now. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I've been telling, actually I just made a presentation. I think this is a good pullback. Okay, if you watch as gold hitting 3,000 last week before, gold miner actually already take a double top, already start turning down. So there is a lot of smart people or Wall Street, whether they think this gold probably will have a pullback. And then we did have pullback. We have a pretty significant pullback. And but right now, if you look at the long-term chart, we're getting close to the support. As I said, over the last weekend, this week we could hitting the support and then bounce back. So it's good. It's healthy. It's good to have some pullback.
Oh, yeah, I feel the same way. It makes me feel a little bit better than seeing it go straight up. So when it comes to gold, I know people are feeling a little bit of frustration about the gold stocks and whether or not they're moving. So how are you focusing on getting exposure to gold right now? Are you looking at the stocks or just the metal?
Yeah, I used to have a two leg. One is the stock, one is the commodity ETF and future. Right now, I'm very heavily leaning against stock because stock are not pricing in 2,900. They're not even pricing 2,500 gold. Okay, so I've been chatting with quite a few people here. Right now, the free cash flow of gold mining companies is so high. That's actually pretty close to when Warren Buffett was buying Barrick. Once Warren Buffett bought Barrick in years because of free cash flow. Warren Buffett, if you look at Buffett, he never liked commodity. He said he doesn't understand, but he liked free cash flow. When free cash flow is this high, historically, what happened? Warren Buffett start buying gold miners. So I think we're getting that. As long as gold stays this price, so that's why I have very lean on the miners now. Because as long as gold and silver companies stay this price, the miner going to go much higher. And then and also like silver, what I'm very excited about silver is the silver company are making a lot of money, incredible cash flow. Fresnillo is the largest silver company in the world. It's in Mexico. Last year, their free cash flow almost $1 billion, almost $1 billion US, and then they have more than $1 billion cash on their balance sheet. You think about the incredible transformation. And my good friend Prescott, they run a company for San Cristobal. It's going to be the largest silver mine in the world, and they already start paying dividend. I was one of the fortunate investors in that mine, and then they pay 30% of my original investment, which is very good. I mean, that's first dividend. That's only first. So they're all the gold and silver miner, they have so much free cash flow. We just ask, okay, as silver investor, we ask the silver company to put some money in silver. Why don't you just hold some silver? You have so much cash. Why don't you hold some silver? And then together, silver can easily go to $50. You think about that. Only 313 million ounces of silver available. Total worth about $10 billion. So all the silver company put $500 million here, $500 million there, and then with that, there's no silver available for deliver. Seriously, I mean, I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm not conspiracy serious, but this is real. And then we're getting really, really close to a big breakout of silver.
What has the response been from companies to that idea of holding some silver? Are you seeing uptake of that?
The silver company are pretty positive. Some are actually forced by their largest shareholder to take on some silver. Every company is different. There's some company are very, very good financial shape. They have so much money. They're paying dividend. Think about some principal 30% dividend. They have so much cash. So why don't you? I mean, you cash already $1 billion. Why don't you take some silver, right? So some they can, but some cannot. Some still struggling. Okay, there's so many different companies out there. So
yeah, that's right. So many different companies down there, and a lot of them are small. So you're really focusing on the big companies, the big miners for gold and silver right now, not down on the export.
No, I mean both. I mean, the top and down. So because my family, I have a sizable portfolio to run, so I have all spectrum. And then I study in the past 20 years for every cycle. When silver go to 50, particularly some small cap silver mining company can do very, very well. Actually, I just recommend one on my recent presentation because they seem to fit all the characteristics. We want to be American listed because American investors can rush in, mean trading, they can be, and then they are free cash flow, growing production, long mine life. That's all the characteristics needed to really have a parabolic move. And I hope they'll come to some of mine, small miner. That's when they go, it really go. And I've seen in the previous bull market, you can easily 10, 20 bagger or more.
Yeah, I think, okay, so all across the spectrum of the gold and silver stocks, maybe just one small follow-up question on silver. I know a lot of people really want to see that $50 level, and they're wondering when will this breakout happen. Any thoughts on that? Do we just have to be patient?
Yeah, you need to get patient. What I learned was silver tend to move more violently when gold is not really moving very sharply. Gold actually just consolidating, and then silver take the next leg. So it can come anytime. And then also, if large silver company taking the shareholders' advice or pressure or whatever to hold on more silver, we saw the report, only 313 million ounces of silver available. So that's all they take to get the silver really moving.
Okay. So we've done critical metals, gold, silver. I think I'll let you go back down onto the floor of PDAC, but any final thoughts you would leave investors with right now?
Oh, it's we are coming back to some very exciting time in the mining industry after very long bear market. I've been talking to a lot of investors that the bear market has been very long, very brutal, and there's so many exciting opportunities out there. I invite investor to come down here and to take a look. There's so many interesting companies out there.
I think that's a great place to wrap it up. Well, thank you so much for coming on to go over everything. It's really good to meet you in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Glad to meet you.
Good. Of course, and I'm Charlotte McLeod with investingnews.com, and this is Chen Lin.